Upbeat. Oh my God, I'm gonna laugh and my eyes are hurting. Everything is, it's just gonna be so sore tomorrow. Okay, so let me catch my breath and let me breathe. 5 seconds in. This is not, okay, this is not a, you know you have it bad when you were filming and laughing at your own self in the screen. Wow. Hi, and welcome back again to Spirituality with a Spin. I am Ryan Keys, your host, and I'm going to muscle through this because I have been laughing again uncontrollably. And not to come across kind of eccentric, but I guess I am in a way. I'm a little bit eccentric. So today I wanted to talk about some things I feel are going to be dynamic and important. There's a lot of shifts going on. There's a lot of shifts going on inside of myself. So I think it's time that we sit down and we get personal and we go one-on-one and we talk to each other about where this path is taking us. The 9-year cycle has been, it just started off with a huge groundbreaking event for most of you. And I think what all of you are looking for and looking towards is a higher level of love and being able to learn from life's lessons as you go forward. So I'm going to give you some tips and some tools to do that, and some insight and some explanation through my own life, I think, because as a teacher that works with a lot of people, I think maybe I have a couple of tools that you can use, but I will see you inside. Oh, this hurts my side. Oh, okay, so I'm tearing up because I'm crying. I'm going to mess up my manscaping. I don't want to mess up my manscaping. So as I was saying in the intro, this has been a tough year. 2017 has kind of taken a lot of people by storm. There's a lot of topics that are out for debate. There's a lot of labels that have been thrown out there that we're trying to let go of. There's a lot of changes on all fronts, whether it's political or social, economic, love. Everything has been kind of boiling, which had been in a simmer all 2016. And I think even this eclipse is just the pinnacle of the shout out that people are trying to get to source. You see, I come from the school of thought where I believe that there is power in prayer. Now, when I say prayer, where does your mind immediately go? Does it go to an organized religion where I'm sitting down and I'm saying something, or I'm counting my rosary, or I'm sitting in front of a gong, or I'm facing a preacher in a church? Because the term prayer, it scares people, and some people it actually makes them feel very pleasant. So you're going through a tough time right now. Even if you're not, you're geared and prepared to go through a tough time. Because society keeps you on edge. Society keeps you in your head. It keeps your head kind of grinding away, kind of in a little bit of a fearful state, always suspicious, always expecting things of yourself and other people, always kind of in a restless state of affairs. There's a saying that the longest journey you'll ever take is from your head to your heart. And I have to say I agree 100% with that, because me and my struggle, it wasn't until just this past week when I had an amazing breakthrough. I had an epiphany that if it just hit me like that, and I'm teaching a lot of people, and I've been doing this path for a long time, I can only imagine what, if you just started this path, what it must feel like and what you're going through, and some of the people that I've worked with, I know 100%. So, as you know, we all go through struggles. We've gone through trials and tribulations. And my own personal struggles, I don't share much of. My own personal love life, I don't share much of. But let's just let it be said that I've got a fullness inside of me that is matched and that is not letting me down. And you can take away whatever you want to take away from that, but I have a real good fullness and an understanding of what I need and where I'm getting it from, and how that's growing and how that's manifesting itself. The level of knowing that I have about my experiences and about how I've had some exponential growth, and even with this eclipse, I'd like to say, when I got first initiated, when I walked in, when I came into this world, when I opened up Pandora's box, when I began to explore life in this experience, it came with pain, it came with suffering, it came with 2 years of struggle. That struggle changed me for the better later. Not initially. I had anger, I had pain. I mean, physical pain brought about a recognition of suffering. It brought about a recognition of wanting vengeance, wanting revenge, wanting to take out that pain on someone else. It brought a sense of being jaded about certain things. It brought a fear of encountering things while I was going through that uncomfortable stage of healing. And the thing is that we all have a personal story. We all identify with a turning point, a key point, a keystone in our life. I like that term, keystone. A place, a milestone, a cornerstone, where you go back and you can say it. So right now, think of that place. Just think of that place, that mile marker on your road where you knew that moment has been with you this entire point of your life. I myself had that moment. I've had several actually, but that was the start. And my epiphany during the eclipse, as I saw this event taking place, it opened me up to the understanding of the celestial involvement even more than I already know. It's in my soul, it's in my every essence. I know it, I see it, but sometimes I forget the awe and wonders of the grand scheme. Sometimes I forget that I've got a outside perspective looking down at that forest, because I just get fixated trying to help and heal the trees and seek shelter and seek that one-on-one connection. Now, I went through that. It became my story. It became my springboard, my diving board moment to splash into that pool of life. I realized this week, so this shows you, this was 20 years ago. This I had the whole right side of my face crushed with no closure. Got away. No one faced anything on that except for me. The person got away. No closure. I had to close it somehow. It stayed raw. I didn't realize it. I thought I had closed it. And it wasn't until I began to have this heart moment sitting under this black sun that I realized that darkness, and again, I've said this many times before, but when it sneaks up on you, sometimes it just sneaks up on you, and you're like, whoa, that really happened right now. I had not forgiven that man fully for what had happened. I had faced it. I had healed through it. I had utilized it to help others heal. But I didn't, and it's not about forgiving him. It's about loving him. About finding it in my heart center, to understand I love that. He brought love into my life. It was with a lesson, but he brought a deep-seated love into my life and planted it below the soil, and it watered and it grew into this. It grew into me. It grew into everything I do. It grew into everyone that I touch and everyone that I work with. And that's the magic of heart. That's the magic of love. Now, when you're out looking for love and you're searching for this quest, and whether, I don't care what you want to label it, twin flame, soulmate, it doesn't matter. You are looking for love. You're looking for validation. Now, I could do a whole video about soul contracts and what I believe and what from my near-death experience and my time in the Akashic Records, what I feel that means, but I don't think it matters. All people are experiencing a fragmented experience. We're all searching for pieces of a puzzle, putting it together with a picture in our mind of what love looks like. But I believe that the picture that we're seeing love as has been one that's been sold to us silently, secretly. You see, because love sometimes is about struggle. Love sometimes is about that severance. Love is sometimes about letting go. Love is deep. Love is in your bones. If you're in love with somebody and they hurt you and they leave you, and you feel this abandonment and you feel this lack of validation, you have to find the place to love them. So it's not about turning the other cheek as much as it's about loving them for that. Because they showed up in your life with a lesson so that you could learn and expand with love. You see, new love is so exciting. New love is it's just like the first time you hold the girl or the guy, the first time, your first kiss, or the first time you do something that you really love. Maybe the first time you ever held a paintbrush, or the first time you ever played a guitar. And it wells up inside of you and you feel this connection. That new love, that experience, is only possible because of the love you lost. Losing my father gives me an advantage in being a better father because I remember him and what he did and what he meant. And that memory sits with me in my heart. You see, because being in the past, and when you're stuck in the past, you're preserving something, you're repeating it because the lesson hasn't become ingrained in you. You haven't learned what you wanted to learn. So when somebody came into your life to help you with that lesson, whether it was hurting you or doing something that leaving you or whatever it is, you didn't get the volume of that lesson because you didn't learn to love through it. I watched this wonderful thing about someone going through cancer, and she was suffering from a tumor, and she was a medical doctor, and she couldn't figure out what was going on. She got a little bit discouraged, so she went through this entire process, and she began to change her diet and do other things. She went into meditation, she went into all kinds of other things when it was like Eastern medicine. And what she began to understand is the cancer was presenting a problem. The cancer was a result of a problem. The problem wasn't that she was eating wrong, it was something she wasn't understanding. And then when she fought cancer, she fought it with the same fervence and the same hate that she was fighting something in the past. She had identified the cancer, put the cancer as this point of her past that she couldn't get past, and she began to get lost in it. So then when she discovered meditation and some of these other types of thinking, she began to tell the cancer, I love you. I love this experience. Everything that we're going through, I do love you. No matter where this experience takes me, I love this. I embrace this. I will become this. Her cancer ended up going away. So that obviously wasn't the end of her journey. That wasn't the end of her life. Now, some other people, like this beautiful man, Andy Whitfield, his journey took him to another place. So there's no right, there's no wrong, but if you love and if you lead with your heart, because like myself, when I was trying to get through all of my accident, I was leading with my head in some ways. I was doing the male brain, the logical thing, the things that make sense, hiding my heart, hiding it. And then under the eclipse, I realized there's not enough time in the world to hide your heart. Time is so precious. It's such a precious place. This minute, this second. every minute that you don't understand that, you're losing. You're losing precious time. That precious time should come from the heart first. If you feel, like Paul Calello said, he's the author. He goes, my parents wanted me to get a real job. They wanted me to do the right thing. They said, you'll never make it as a writer. In Brazil, being a writer is just not possible. You'll starve. And he goes, I tried to do it that way. I tried to go into it that way and do what they said. And he goes, but I just couldn't get past it. He goes, I just wanted to write. And he goes, I sat down, I started writing songs, I started writing poems, I started writing small, short stories. And he goes, and I finally wrote my first book at 40. At 40. And this started when he was 20. And then he said, but at least I wrote my first book. He never let love out of his sight. He never let his heart out of his sight. Think about desire, what you desire right now. When you make a vision board, which is very useful, it has its tips, its tools, it is constructive for many things. But when you fixate on something material or something that is objectified by a value, why is it that when you obtain that, when you get that promotion, when you get that new car, it's never enough? You always want something more. The only time that you're not wanting is the moment right after you get what it is that you desired. So was it the desire you were after, or not having the desire? Only having love for your existence and your passion. Passion and desire are two different things. When I'm impassioned, my passion is my purpose. My desire is how I choose to focus that energy. In the course of finding yourself, you have to forgive yourself. You have to begin to understand you. You have to begin to see something inside of you that resonates with something higher. Jesus said to have the faith of a child. If you have the faith of a child, you can say to that mountain, move, and the mountain will move into the sea. The faith of a child, compassion and curiosity. That's no coincidence that those two go together. A child running straight into the ocean doesn't care about the cold water, doesn't care that the water is freezing. He's only focused on the fun that he's going to have. He's only focused on the feeling that's going to happen as soon as he gets into that water, that connection that he's going to have, where he's going to feed that curiosity, where he's going to have the compassion for this connection. It's heart-centered. Children lead with their heart. That's why they get upset. I mean, granted, if you're leading with your heart all the time, and you don't have the head as a little bit of a filter, you might get into trouble. You might yell at somebody. You might experience stuff. That's why you have to learn to pace yourself, and you have to learn to use other techniques if you feel really angry. But the key in a lot of these things, when you're heart-centered, see, because your heart feels things first, and then your head follows. Your heart and your gut, 3 brains. We'll get into that later at a different time. I'm going to do that with a friend of mine, Claire, at the Divine Love Academy, who I'm so excited to work with. You guys are going to love her. And I'm going to tell you a story. And then this story makes a lot of sense. There was a Japanese samurai, and he had seen feudal feuds and wars and killed so many people. He couldn't live with himself any longer. He was seeing their ghost in the trees. So he set out looking for an old sage, this woman, and he was going to ask her a question. And he searched and he searched, and he finally found this little cabin at the edge of the woods along a stream. And he just knocked on the door and no one answered. Knocked on the door and nobody answered. So he burst into the door, and she was just sitting there next to this candle and fire, rocking back and forth. And he said, "Are you the sage?" And she looks at him and she says, "Why?" He goes, "Well, I have a question. I need you to answer it." He goes, "I've killed so many people in battle." She goes, "Well, what is your question?" He goes, "For all those people that have died in battle, I wanted to know if they'll go to heaven. And then for me, for all those people that I've killed, I wanted to know if I can avoid hell. And she looked at him and she said, she actually laughs. And she says, that's a stupid question coming from such a stupid man. And it angered him. And then he began to draw his sword. And she goes, why would I give you such knowledge, a stupid warrior that wields a sword? And then he pulls his sword, and then he lashes it, and he stops right at her throat. And he goes, tell me. And she goes, that's hell. And he just looks at her, and he looks down at the sword. And then he drops it. And he puts his hands in his face, and he's sobbing, and he's in tears. And he looks back up at her. And she goes, that's heaven. Find your personal walk. Find your personal insights. But lead with love in every level of your life. I can help you at the Divine Love Academy. I've got all kinds of stuff set up. I've got a lot of stuff for free. We're doing a lot of amazing changes there. It's going to be just unbelievable. I'm super proud of it. I walk this walk not to be a millionaire. I walk this walk because I want to walk it with you. Because I believe that if we bring people to a place of leadership, if we can have you become a leader and not a light worker, but someone that operates solely out of love, light and dark, good and evil, they don't matter. Good people do bad things, bad people do good things, but it's the love that's in the being that will truly show them the way. So I'm here to help you to love, and to love like it's nothing, like there's nothing else in your body. I want you to love like you're on fire, and that love is the only thing that will quench that. It's your water. Jesus didn't come here he didn't come here to start a church. He didn't come here to start a religion. He came here to show love and to show you the way to love. This is a story that's been told many times. If you're finally ready to sit down and listen and to get it, let's sit down together and let's share. Follow me on social media, make yourself known, come from a place of unbiasedness. This channel is changing. This world is changing. You're changing. Embrace it. Be the change that you're seeking. Speak what you seek. Peace, light, and love. I will see you on the other side.